iPod, October 23, 2001. Steve Jobs stands in a small room, nowhere near the scale of a modern Apple keynote, and unveils a 5 GB hard drive player for $399. It only worked with Macs. It used FireWire, which almost nobody had heard of, and the tech press, not gonna lie, kinda clowned on it. One early headline literally guessed the name stood for Idiots Price Our Devices. Turns out the joke aged badly. The mechanical scroll wheel felt like nothing else on the market, and within a year, Apple swapped it for a solid-state touch wheel, and finally let Windows users in through a program called Music Match. That single decision, opening up to Windows, is arguably the moment this thing stopped being a niche Mac accessory and started becoming a cultural object. iPod Mini, announced January 2004, and this is where things get interesting. Apple actually planned to kill the Mini early on. Steve Jobs reportedly wanted to cancel it before launch because he thought it wasn't good enough. His team pushed back hard, and it shipped anyway in 4 candy-colored aluminum shells for $249. It became, for a hot minute, one of the best-selling music players on the planet. And then Apple did something that still confuses people today. Right as the Mini was crushing it in sales, Apple discontinued it in 2005 to replace it with something smaller and cheaper. Killing your own best-selling product to make room for its replacement is a pretty bold move, but that decision would define the next decade of the entire lineup. iPod Nano. This was the replacement, and it dropped the hard drive completely in favor of flash memory, which meant no moving parts, way better battery efficiency, and a body thin enough to legitimately worry people that it would snap in half. Some early units actually did get scratched shockingly easily, and Apple had to deal with a wave of complaints about the screen. But the Nano just kept evolving, generation after generation, in ways almost no other Apple product has. It went from a tall, thin bar to a shorter, fat version with video playback, to a widescreen touchscreen, and then weirdly into a tiny square clip-on device that looked more like a watch face than an MP3 player. The iPod Shuffle, released January 2005, and this thing is proof that removing features can absolutely be a selling point. No screen, no menu, you couldn't even see what song was playing. It ran on a chip nobody else in the iPod lineup used, made by a company called Sigmatel, and it looked like a stick of gum you clipped to your shirt. People genuinely loved not being able to choose. Apple leaned into that with a feature called autofill that just randomly loaded your music library onto it for you. The Shuffle went through some wild redesigns too. Yeah, Apple actually shipped a talking iPod with 0 buttons. It was kind of a mess for accessibility reasons at first, but it worked well enough that the design stuck around for years. iPod 5th generation. October 2005. This is the version that finally added video playback, and it mattered because it changed what people expected an iPod to even be. Suddenly, you could buy TV episodes and music videos straight from iTunes and carry them in your pocket. Which sounds basic now, but at the time felt like carrying a personal television. This is also around when Apple briefly sold a photo-focused variant with a bigger color screen before folding those features into the main lineup entirely. iPod Classic, September 2007. This is just the original iPod line getting officially renamed, but the timing is what makes it fascinating. Apple renamed its flagship music player to Classic in the exact same month it revealed both the iPod Touch and a few months later, the iPhone. Reading between the lines, Apple was basically telling the world, this hard drive era is done. We just haven't buried it yet. The Classic kept getting minor bumps, eventually reaching 160 gigabytes of storage in 2009, which was an insane amount of space for music at the time. But it barely changed in design for years, and in September 2014, Apple quietly discontinued it without a big announcement. No stage moment, no farewell video, it just vanished from the store one day. iPod Touch. Introduced alongside the Classic in September 2007, and this is basically Apple testing the iPhone experience without the phone part. Multi-touchscreen, Wi-Fi, a baby version of Safari, and access to the iTunes Wi-Fi music store, which let you buy songs directly on the device itself. Here's the part that catches people off guard. The iPod Touch outlived every single other iPod. While the Classic, Mini, Nano, and Shuffle all got discontinued between 2014 and 2017, the Touch kept getting updated. It picked up FaceTime, a Retina display, a Lightning connector, and eventually Apple even gave it a surprise refresh in 2019, adding a modern processor and a huge jump in storage.